Yeah, it was like firewalking because you think that you did a really good job. Hello, friend, Shawnee here. Thank you again for stopping by and seeing what I'm up to this week. So, last week I discussed what I was doing to prepare the launch of my app's landing page, kind of discussed some things that I did or was going to do, and I actually already posted the website as well. So, let's talk through this because I had some serious issues with the landing page. Just so many issues. The issue that I had the most was trying to, not really issue, but I was trying to learn SEO. So, search engine optimization. That's basically what that stands for. And so I was online and I was reading some stuff and I found a really good, I guess I could say it's kind of like a how-to from this website called Moz. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but it's moz.com. And it was really helpful, like the way they, talked about like how to implement it in your website and the importance of it and how how search engines crawl the web and stuff like that. And it's really focused on Google. And it was good, but very, I want to say slightly confusing too, because I kind of got caught up into the whole entire, I'll just focus on SEO and nothing else. So, but the thing is I did it anyway. I did some of the things that they suggested for my website. And so what actually happened with my landing page is last week I had it up and running. Like I loaded it onto GitLab. I, started connecting some of the things that I need to connect it to, like, MailChimp, FormSpree, things like that. So I already started the process of connecting everything. And so I decided, you know what? I see in a group on indie hackers that people, would post their landing page and ask for feedback. I'm like, you know what? That's kind of what I'm going to do. But I also found another thread that was focusing mainly on SEO. So I submitted my website for that to kind of, see what they would come up with by looking at the website as it was at that point. And this gentleman was really nice and responded back to me and said, your website is super slow. It took over 9 seconds for it to load up. And I freaked out. I was like, what? It was frustrating. And then I started reading again some more of that website or reading more stuff about SEO. And I got kind of confused and frustrated towards the end of the day. Not frustrated, but flustered, I guess. I decided to write a tweet about trying to understand SEO and stuff like that, and a really good acquaintance of mine, Reindeer from applearning.com, responded back to me and said, really just focus on load time. That was his whole pitch. Reindeer was like, focus on load time. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to do that. So I started digging into the template that I chose for my website, and noticed that the jQuery that it was using, as well as the Bootstrap, was old. It was, antiquated. It was an older version. I think it was like Bootstrap 3 or something like that. And so I was like, well, maybe it'd be pretty easy to update it. And my God, it wasn't. Last Friday, after work, I was like, I have to make a decision here. I either have to fix this template from the ground up, or I'm going to have to find another one. And it would suck, but I need to make a decision. I decided on the prior. I decided, you know what, I'm just going to see if I can fix it. I spent about 2 hours trying to make it work. And I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm not even doing it. So I found a new template, updated everything. Like it was like updated in January, and I was like, okay, this is it. And I went balls to the wall and transferred all of my copy. I threw out the gifts because the gifts were way too expensive, like memory wise. And so I spent Saturday, all day Saturday, literally from about 9 a.m. because I went running that morning. So when I came back from my run, I settled down, grabbed some coffee, grabbed some tea, had my water, and just went to town on this, complete pivot on my landing page. So I spent Saturday and then majority of Sunday too, just trying to get it ready for Monday. Because I was determined not to mess with this landing page after Monday, because I need to get back to coding, right? That's what happened. Yeah, Monday morning, I decided that I was going to go ahead and submit my landing page for review. There's this group on indie hackers that I follow, and so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So I submitted my landing page for feedback. Yeah, it was like firewalking because, you submit something that you spent, a lot of time on and kind of stressed out over. It's kind of hard to, receive feedback, but that's the thing. It's like, I've never done this before as far as like really wanting something to work. And so I'm like, you know what, let's do it. So I submitted it. I had gotten really good feedback as far as like some of the verbiage and the placement of my call to action, which the person who responded back, pointed out, and I didn't even notice it. I was like, you know what, that's actually true. And then when I saw how it was behaving, I'm like, okay, I gotta fix that. So it was really helpful as far as like finding parts of the website parts of the, sections that needed to be kind of reworked. I do plan on reworking a little bit more of the images, mainly because another poster had, mentioned something about it, and I was like, you know what, yeah, you're kind of right too. So I'll be doing that as well. I did make some edits to my website based off of some feedback that I got from the people on the group I was telling you about over at Indie Hacker. So thank you to everyone who responded. I really definitely appreciate it. Because it's people taking out the time to actually, look at your website and actually give a response. And I think it's important to say thank you. So thank you. On the bright side though, my loading time is now amazing. In the United States, it takes about a second or two. When it's overseas, like the far reaches of like Asia, like Singapore and stuff, it's about 3 seconds, which is like, yay! And that 3 seconds is actually for an iPhone, for a phone. So I was like super excited that I got down and everything. Now, it did take quite a bit of time to do so. So Monday, what I did after I, got everything transferred over to the new template is I began to do some research on meta keywords. And so I glanced around, found some resources, and I guess I could share them down below if you're interested. But basically, most of the resources came from the Moe's article that I mentioned earlier. So finding some of the keywords, I added my meta keywords, I added a meta description for my website. And then I ran my website through Uptrends, which does like an audit of all of your code, your CSS, your JavaScript files, and it will like alert you as to what you could do to optimize your website. And so that's what I used to kind of analyze it. making sure, like, especially the load time, because Ryan had mentioned, load time is definitely key. And so that's really what I really focused on. And then once I got the load time down for mobile phones, because I think that's really the hardest, is mobile phones. I mean, desktops, it's pretty easy. When I first ran my website through without doing any minifying of any of my files, it was super fast. Like, it was already in, the low 90s when I first submitted it through Uptrend. So after minifying and shrinking down my images, everything went well. Then again, I also going to mention like what services I use for my landing page. So for analytics, I did stick with Fathom Analytics, mainly because I don't want to have the cookie notice on my website. And at this early in the game, I don't think it's important to get really into the nitty-gritty of my users or people who visit my website. And it's also kind of intrusive too. I personally hate those cookie pop-ups on websites. It makes me cringe. That's what I implemented. Super easy to do. Just literally adding some, JavaScript at the end of my index HTML file. Then I hooked up MailChimp for my subscriptions. I set up a Twitter profile for my app. It's kind of easy. Unfortunately, Twitter thinks that my app's Twitter profile is a bot. So every time I log in, it usually has to ping me like, "Are you a bot?" I'm like, no, I'm not. And then for the message form, I did use FormSpree, and it was pretty easy to hook that up. All right, so after that, Monday evening, late afternoon, Monday evening, I plastered my website everywhere. Yeah. So that was like, I'm done, finally. Rinder also suggested a marketing book, which is Guerrilla Marketing, which just came in, and I'm like 2 pages in. So this is going to be my reading material for the next week. So I'm super excited about that. I mean, I've read the intro, and then like barely into the first chapter. So I don't really have an opinion on it just yet, but so far it seems like it's going to help me out. Another book that I actually started last week is Escape from Cubicle Nation, from corporate prisoner to thriving entrepreneur. Now, the reason why I bought this is because I do have a corporate job. So coming from the corporate arena and trying to do this, it just sounded like a really good book to kind of get you through it. And I really like a lot of the things that's in here. Obviously, I have my little colored tabs. One of the things that I'm going to really focus on this week is recruiting my tribe, and that is in this book. So identifying people to support, guide, and partner with me. So that's kind of what I'm looking for or looking to work on. And so if you know anyone who, is a teacher, teaches kids, teaches young adults, send them my info. I'm asking you, my subscribers, send them over, because I do have questions in regards to teachers and the struggles that they go through as far as like with curriculum and things like that. I'm also looking for parents. So homeschooling parents, unschooling parents, parents who want to supplement their kids' education. Send them over. Because I need to know, what struggles they're going through as far as, educating their child, finding materials that keep them engaged and entertained. Well, keep them engaged in the material. The thing is I want to make the material educational, but also engaging, because it's important to be engaged. There's nothing more boring than boring math problems on a page, right? And the next thing I'm going to be really working on this month is prototyping, testing and prototyping my app. I need to get my prototype out there. And again, Escape from Cubicle Nation, I'm still working full time. Okay, mind you, this is my side gig for right now. I want to make it my full-time gig, but before I do so, I need to reach out to my future users, and I need to test and prototype this out now, so that to make sure that I'm like going down the right track. Like, who knows, maybe this app isn't a good idea. You know, so I won't know that until I actually talk to or converse with you know, my users. So if you know anyone who fits in that description, send them over to my website to subscribe, and I'll reach out to them shortly. So I'm going to discuss a little bit about what I used and what I did to get my page load time down. So really the goal is to make all of your images, all of your files lightweight. And that's because as it goes through the servers and loads onto the actual browser, it transfers memory. It transfers these files, and it takes a lot of time depending on where you are in the world. So what I did to minify, so first thing I did was I minified all my CSS and JavaScript files, and in order to do that, I actually had to remove the code that wasn't being used, because like I said, I used a template, so I had everything including the kitchen sink inside of these files. But after I designed my website to how I want it to look, I took out sections that I wasn't using. So I pulled those out. I literally deleted certain parts that I wasn't going to be using, at least not right now. And one way I did that was once I loaded my template up onto GitLab, so that was live, I used Google Chrome's developer tools, console coverage. What it does is it looks at the file size of your CSS and JavaScript files, and it lets you know approximately how much of the code is being used and how much isn't. And so using that, I could actually look at the file in the developer tools console and kind of see what parts were being used, because it would highlight the actual code that wasn't used with red, and then what was used with like a green color. So I would have the file in BB Edit on one side of my screen, and then on the other side of my screen I had the results. From there I would go literally line by line, looking at code that was being used, code that wasn't used, and deleting it. And at the same time, once I was deleting it on my file, I'll go to the website that I actually had on my actual computer, refresh it to see if I broke anything. So I did that. And then once I did that, I just went to DuckDuckGo website, typed in minify CSS, and DuckDuckGo, amazing work there, guys, because they literally had, as soon as you put that in, you can literally just copy and paste your code in there and minifies for you. So thumbs up, that was awesome. Definitely saved me a lot of time. So that's how I did it. It was pretty easy. Then shrinking the size of my images, I just used an online tool. I mean, you just literally have to say optimize images, and there's tons of websites that do it for you. Next week I'll most likely discuss what else I'm doing. Oh, another book, and I didn't buy this book, the physical book. I actually bought the ebook. It's like 1 million followers, and you're wondering, why did you do that? It's not necessarily that I want 1 million followers. My goal is to increase my reach on certain platforms that I am using to promote my app. And in that book, there's some stuff that he recommends, like strategies and experiments to try out. So I am using that to kind of experiment, like what kind of responses I get, depending on how I word my posts on Twitter, and also how I set up my YouTube videos. So I'm using that. I'm also going to be using it to dive into another platform, and I'm not quite sure which one I'm going to go for right now. It could be Instagram, but it could be Facebook groups. I'm still researching which one would be most... Yeah, I'm still researching it. I'm not sure which one would be the best route for me to go as far as getting in front of my potential users. So I'll probably have more information on that next week. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be focusing on. Should be fun. Should be fun. It's going to be fun. All right. So thank you again for watching my video. Hopefully you find it entertaining or educational or whatnot. Yeah. Share, like, subscribe. You know the deal. All right. Till next time, friends.